this story is a few days old. And this is from over the weekend when Donald Trump was having a real one on Twitter. Don Jr. thinks Trump is acting crazy. The president's COVID joyride has the family divided. This is coming from Vanity Fair. And I love this, like this is such a beta wave. Jesus Christ. It's so bad. But I just want to read this whole article because it's fucking funny. And you just love to see this kind of stuff, right? Like family feuds going on in the White House. This is great stuff. Donald Trump's erratic and reckless behavior in the last 24 hours. Again, this was over the weekend when this guy was live tweeting from a hospital bed when he was tripping on morphine or whatever the fuck. In the last 24 hours has opened a rift in the Trump family over how to rein in the out-of-control president. According to the two Republicans briefed on the family conversations, sources said Donald Trump Jr. is deeply upset by his father's decision to drive around Walter Reed National Military Medical Center last night with members of the Secret Service while he was infected with COVID-19. Again, there were only like 16 supporters out there with like it was embarrassing, dude. Embarrassing. Don Jr. thinks Trump is acting crazy, one of the sources told me. The stunt outraged medical experts, including an attending physician at Walter Reed. According to sources, Don Jr. has told friends that he tried lobbying Ivanka Trump, Eric Trump, and Jared Kushner to convince the president that he needs to stop acting unstable. Don Jr. has said he wants to stage an intervention, but Jared and Ivanka keep telling Trump how great he's doing. I love this! I love this! I love it. A source said Don Jr. is said to be reluctant to confront his father alone because they have a bad relationship. Reminder, Don Jr. is the son that Trump doesn't like, his least favorite son. I actually don't know. I remember him saying that about one of them, but I don't remember which one it was. So I just used that for both of them. Well, both of the adult ones. Obviously, Barron doesn't count. Barron is the favorite. We already know that. A source said, Don Jr. is said to be reluctant to confront his father alone. Don said, I'm not going to be the only one to tell him he's acting crazy, the source added. Now, Don Jr. thinks that he is the inheritor of the Trump empire. And maybe he is, right? That's totally possible. And that's why Don Jr. is kind of thinking of the future here. Everyone else is kind of they're just blissfully ignorant. They're just kind of thinking in the moment. Don Jr. is thinking like 60 years out. Don Jr. is thinking about the rest of his life right here. Don Jr. is thinking about his 2032 run for president, right? To maintain the legacy of his 8-year parents' reign, right? He's thinking, oh, what if Ronald Reagan had a kid that ran for office? That's what he's thinking, right? And seeing his dad go nutso, right? So close to the finish line, pulling an RBG, looking right? Like he's worried about his future. He's worried about his future, not his father's future. He doesn't give a shit about his father. He's worried about his future, and that's why he's acting like this. And I think it's great. I love it. I love this. I love this stuff. One area where the family seems united is over the president's manic tweeting early Monday morning, after Trump sent out more than a dozen all-caps tweets. I love that this is how media just writes about the president. They write about him like he's some crazy dude, right? And that's because he is, and I love it. The Trump children told people they want Trump to stop. They're all worried. They've tried to get him to stop tweeting, a source close to the family told me. Again, I know that this is funny, right? But imagine 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Let's go 10 years ago, when Twitter was first coming out of the shell, right? Imagine 10 years ago, you're telling somebody in your family, yeah, 10 years from now, the president of the United States is going to be posting all caps on Twitter, right? While they're on a 24-hour drug trip and his kids are going to be doing damage control on Fox News all day. Imagine you were to have told that to someone 10 years ago. Now imagine 20 years ago, yeah, a president of these United States is going to be tweeting in all caps on a website online, right, while he is tripping on drugs in the hospital, right? Again, if you take this out of any context from the year 2020, it's so much funnier. The Trump family's private concern about Trump's behavior could raise questions about his fitness for office. Trump has been prescribed drugs that medical experts say can seriously impair his cognitive function. Last night, the New York Times reported that steroids, which Trump is reportedly taking, specifically dexamethasone, whatever the fuck, are known to affect mood, causing euphoria or a general happiness. Dude, the president is tripping on drugs, right? Like, this is like me every night on Twitter, except imagine I'm the president, and, like, imagine I'm significantly uglier. There is a long story in the Trump family of denying serious illness. According to a Trump family friend, Trump's father, Fred Trump Sr., insisted on working even after his Alzheimer's disease advanced in the 1990s. To retire is to expire, Fred Sr. would say. The friend said that as Fred Sr.'s disease worsened, he once came down the stairs wearing 3 neckties. The family created a system so Fred could think he was still running the Trump organization. Every day, Fred Sr. would go to the office in Brooklyn, and they would give him blank papers to sort through and sign. Doesn't that sound familiar? When Donald Trump was at the desk signing, like, on blank papers with a Sharpie, signing his name. In print, by the way, not in cursive, but in print. Remember, like, they shot these pictures in high def, so you can zoom in and see that all the photos or papers rather were blank. That sounds so familiar. I love it. Oh my God, the phone on Fred's desk was set up so that it could only dial out to his secretary. Fred pretended to work, the family friend said. The White House did not immediately respond for comment. And seeing how this story is a couple days old, chances are they're not responding to comment. But yes, Don Jr. and even in part of the rest of the Klan, they're worried. They're worried because they see their potential future legacy collapsing right in front of them. Trump is so close to the finish line, and he gets corona a month before the election. Damn. What a shame. Looks like you're going to need to have a new, modified 20-year plan, Don Jr. I know the rest of us have had to modify our 20-year plans with this pandemic. I'm finally glad that you're joining the fray.